Yeah, I think this is the first time we've done this outside of Tommy Media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it in two different rooms there, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Wow,
weird, man.
It seems like a long time ago.
well, I mean,
know.
I was
That was-
okay. Okay, it was a long time ago. I was looking back at our episodes. We've been inactive for long enough that Overcast podcast listener lists us as an inactive podcast.
Oh gosh.
I was looking back at our old episodes because I was listening to one to see if there was any old takes I wanted to bring up, and I was listening to the Sad About Brian podcast, which came out on August 18th of last year.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
It's been a while.
Jeez.
I think our last episode came 4 games into the Major League Baseball regular season. Because I
Yep.
remember
Yeah.
TJ had the take of the Twins are 3-0 right now, and they're going to be good this year. And
Wow.
sure enough.
Gee. Maybe I'm smart about sports.
You're a genius, TJ.
I highly doubt that.
Marvelous. So I'm gonna
All
intro
right.
this show again, and we're gonna actually.
Also, just a quick heads up, I'll probably be almost useless in the first 2 Qs.
That's fine.
Hey, that's good. I will be useless in the second queue as well. So just go ahead and talk for 10 minutes, TJ, on the second question, and then we'll be good.
I'll see if I can form an opinion in the next 10 minutes on
You
NCAA
guys know
football.
this show is not for like good opinions, right? You don't have to be educated. You just have to be loud.
Oh, we know. Oh, do we know?
And with that, welcome everyone to the Q4 podcast, the only podcast you can find that's been inactive for almost a year, and we still consider it an important part of our lives.
No,
I'm your
that's not-
host, TJ.
It's been probably 5 months, because what? MLB season started in April, so that's May, June, July, August. Yeah, 5 months.
Okay, it's been 5 months since our last episode, and the last episode before that was also 5 months.
Hey, at least we're consistent.
Yeah. So once we're done here, I'll see you guys in
See
what?
you guys
February?
again next year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, guys.
We'll
Enjoy
talk
your
about
Merry Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, man.
All right, we're gonna start this off with probably mostly insight from Anthony, but I have opinions as well and a question. But the Q1 for this episode, Minnesota United just clinched a playoff berth 3 years after the franchise joined the MLS. How are they going to do, and what is the future of the franchise?
I think, first of all, it's pretty exciting. Just the fact that, something has been successful right away in Minnesota. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. And I think it was a turning point this past year because the ownership and leadership in the office said that, we're not just going to, keep all of the guys that we had in our NASL team because that's not working. We're going to actually not be afraid to make some moves and just spend a lot of money. And they did. They brought in some veterans, and here we are. We're in second place right now in the Western Conference. So I think it's a cool mentality because they're just like, F it. We're going to be like all the other teams and spend a lot of money. And they did, and now they're in the playoffs. That's how it's supposed to be done,
Yeah, I like it. I'm a fan. The new stadium, the freshness of the team, and now making the playoffs is there's a whole really exciting energy about it, which is great. I looked a little bit into just the season stats. very broadly. So Minnesota United is 5th overall in points of the 24 teams. They're also 5th overall in point differential, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I personally do not think they will go to the championship this year because in order to do that, they would need to get past LAFC, which has just been like blowing past everyone this season.
Yeah.
But it's still exciting. I think they could probably make a pretty deep run and make it at least to the conference championship, which is great for a team that's still like on its, 3rd year.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you talk about LAFC and Atlanta FC. So like Atlanta last year, or they came in the league the same year we did, so 3 years ago, and they've already won a championship. I'm pretty sure. Someone might want to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure they did. But they're like, so Minnesota people are like, well, what the heck? We came in at the same time, and now they're just dominating everyone. But I think we're up in that category now, and it's honestly weird. Like I'm looking at the standings right now, and I don't really believe it. Like
Yeah.
I'm looking
No,
at
I
it
feel
right
that.
now, and I'm like, nah, I don't think Minnesota is that high up. But
I
if
feel
we
like you
get,
can say that about every single Minnesota sports team ever.
yeah, you just because it's that cautious, like, I know they're second place, but I still feel like they're underdogs in every single game that they play.
We're just not used
But,
to
I don't
having
know,
anything good.
Yeah, and it's weird when something is good because we want to temper our excitement for historical sake.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know, if we get to play home games, I think we're going to be in really good shape. But if we're on the road, we're a different team on the road than we are at home for sure. So I don't know. Playoffs will be interesting. It'll be cool to actually have that atmosphere in Minnesota.
Yeah,
And
Allianz
hopefully-
would be wild if they get home
Yeah.
games during the playoffs.
Have you guys been to a game at the stadium?
I have not.
I haven't either.
I went a couple months ago, and I'm going actually tomorrow when they're playing LAFC, and it's just like loud, man. It's just loud in there. It's crazy. It's so fun. It's such a cool atmosphere. It's fun to be there, and I don't know. At TCF, it felt like it wasn't really at home. But this is like everything is blue and black and gray. Like it's cool. It's a really cool atmosphere. So hopefully we get some of those home games in the playoffs, because then we could actually make something happen.
That'd be dope. I
Also, one more thing. Can I add one more thing?
yeah, go for it.
Two more things. It just split into two. So, first thing, Brent Kallman suspended for 10 games for PED use. Did you see that?
No.
It was last week. A report came out that he used PEDs to recover from something, injury or just like soreness after a game, and he knew he was doing it, but he was like, yeah, I just need to recover. So he's suspended for 10 games
Oh my
for
gosh.
PEDs. And so now we can say we have our very own Barry Bonds in Minnesota because our backup defender is using PEDs to recover from injuries.
What a great decision that was.
Yeah, not the best, but everyone uses a little PED now and again, right?
Yeah, everyone just like, pumps a little roids in.
Like TJ after a long Tuesday at work or something, you just need a nice steroid boost after your long day.
Who doesn't?
Come home, get in my lazy boy, put the feet up, and inject some steroids.
As you do.
The more stressed
So, yeah,
I am, the
it'll
more
be
jacked
fun.
I am. That's
Can you imagine, Noah, if TJ comes back to the cities and we get together and TJ's just like 250 pounds of pure muscle? That'd be
my
so
gosh.
weird.
It would. I physically or just mentally, I'm having a really hard time imagining that because that is just
Same.
not TJ. There are many words to describe TJ. Ripped, jacked, buff are not that. You can't use that category of word.
No, it's. I'm just trying to picture it in my head and it just doesn't work. TJ bumbling around with a backwards hat and then just like ready to bench 300 pounds.
Calls everybody bro or dude and has like those really small what are they, the muscle shirts, the tank tops that
Oh yeah.
oh gosh.
Oh yeah, it would absolutely cut in so that it only like covered up like my breastbone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then just pasty white TJ would walk in.
Pasty
actually-
white ripped TJ.
Yeah, he wouldn't wear one of those. He'd be wearing a sweater that he used to wear, but he'd just be ripping through it. It's like, yeah, I just didn't want to buy a new sweater, so I'm wearing this sweater still.
I might be jacked, but I'm still broke.
Oh man.
I will add to this if it helps you imagine. You think about how like bodybuilders always look like they're like a skinny, like if you look at their neck, they're like a skinny dude that's like coming out of a really giant dude. So just imagine me coming out of a bodybuilder, like head up. Then that should
And you
help
just kind of get stuck.
The
And then
way
you're
you
there, yeah.
described that opened it up to some really disgusting imagery.
Gosh.
Oh man, that took a turn, didn't it?
Yeah.
We were just talking
Yeah.
about soccer a second ago.
Soccer is a sport. I do have one question back on the topic of soccer, and I want Anthony to like walk me through this. New England is in the playoffs, right?
Okay.
In the Eastern Conference. They have a negative 7-point differential.
Yes.
How?
That
How
is
does one
correct.
do that?
So, the games they win are close and are like 1-0 wins. And a couple games that they lost, they probably lost like 6-0. Or
So I think it's safe to say they'll
5-2.
probably get like dumped on in the first round, right?
Well, yeah, and they haven't even like secured their spot yet, just because I believe there's 2 more games in the season. So they're kind of just right on the cusp. But you see, like I'm looking at their goals per game and it's 1.3. So
Oh my.
they don't score that often. And a negative 7 differential just shows that they better hope they can score 2 or 3 goals because they're going to give up goals at the same time. But like looking at, if you look at LAFC, their goal differential is 46.
Saw that. That's
That is
like
insane.
unreasonable.
46. They average more than 2 goals a game, and I think this is the most disgusting stat. They're 8-3-5 on the road. That's better than like the number 6 seed right now, the Portland Timbers. That's better than their home record. They're 8-3-5 on the road. That's just crazy. But yeah, they're pretty formidable. There's a reason they're the number 1 in the league right now. But
By a
you
long
never know.
shot.
You never know what can happen. I hope Minnesota makes it. At least wins one playoff game. That'd be pretty cool.
It'd be cool for the state. We'd
Yeah,
appreciate
and then, you
that.
know, yeah, because and I think it's just cool because so many people go to these games and you're like, wow, I thought I was the only person who appreciated soccer in Minnesota. But, you know, it's packed. All these games are sold out. There's like 20,000 people there, and the whole place is just bumping, and there's like flags and scarves everywhere. It's pretty cool.
I gotta get my
So-
scarf. Now that I'm not living in Minnesota, I need to like stock up on Minnesota sports gear.
Yeah. Decorate the wall of that literally one bedroom room that you're in. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he's got pretty much a whole basement to himself. It's a pretty nice setup. It's not like he's
Yeah, it's a pretty nice setup.
crammed in
I
one
just can't
bedroom.
like I just can't like go out to the other places and record because there's really no sound barriers between the rest of the house and here. So I'm just I'm on the bed.
Still, you gotta get some gear, dude.
I've got that Vikings jersey for you, Tej.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Hey, it's we can't go to Vikings yet, can we? God dang it!
Not yet.
Trying
not
to
yet.
fall in line.
We gotta. I'm gonna segue into our second question by saying it's time for Q2. That's my segue.
Nice.
You know what? That's
NCAA
better than most.
As he cuts me off in
Give
the middle
it-
of my question.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I have to judge you on every single segue you do because you're bad.
Can I
at
just
them.
get like a number rating? Like out of 24, how good was it?
Probably a 15.
It's okay. That's
Ooh.
better than I was expecting.
Yeah,
It's better than usual.
To be honest, same. Yeah.
Well, because I was gonna tell you that it was a 6.5 out of 10, so I needed to figure out how to translate 6.5 to a 24-point scale. You really threw me off there, bud.
Yeah, there's a lot of math that had to go into that one.
Trying to keep you on your toes here, Noah. Keep that
But
brain
we're sitting
active.
down.
Yeah. Always on your toes.
Did you say 24-point scale? That's now just hitting me.
Yeah.
Is that the scale that you decided to use?
Yeah, he said out of 24.
Interesting.
Moving on.
All right, let's hurry up through Q2 because I won't be able to help you much through that, and I'd like to talk about 3 and 4.
All right, I just want
Yeah,
to
no one cares
regrettably
about
say
Q2.
things. NCAA football is back. Rankings are shifting early on as usual. Who's your season favorite for champ and who's going to win the Heisman? I just want to say that the Big Ten, I think, has the best chance to actually do something that they've had in a while. There are 6 SEC teams in the top 25. There are also 6 Big Ten teams. Ohio State is ranked number 5 currently, and Wisconsin is ranked number 7. And Wisconsin currently has a running back that I imagine will be incredible when he comes to the NFL next year, and Jonathan Taylor is my Heisman pick. If you have any opinions for that, feel free. I just wanted to say that because I'm hype about the Big Ten and the fact that they might actually like do something this year.
So when you say the Big Ten, you mean Ohio State and Wisconsin?
That's exactly
right?
what I mean. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
right.
Hold on, let me pull up the top 25 rankings here.
Because, yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And Penn State is, I don't know. It's with college football, it's so hard to, and it's just, I'm not a big fan of how everything is done in college football just because it's like, if you lose one game, you're out, forget about it, your season's over. And then
Yeah.
for some teams, if you go undefeated, it's not good enough. Like, what else can you do, you know? And the only thing you can do is, make your schedule harder next year. But, like, what else could you do this year, you know?
Yeah. That's the frustrating part about it, and I'm hoping that a Big Ten team is able to, like, make enough of an impact to actually make it to the playoffs, even though there's only 4 teams that make it in, and that's the part that gets me is that there's 4 teams that make it in, and it's usually like 2 or 3 SEC teams. So who's gonna get everything else?
Yeah.
Well,
That's like,
it's always... Sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, I've never been a big fan of how college, or at least Division One, does it. In the 4 years that we were all at St. Thomas, I really enjoyed how Division III football did it, where it was just one massive tournament like March Madness.
Yeah,
where you
why not
have-
do that?
Yeah, you have 32 or 64 teams who make it in, and that gives everyone, why not make, the round of 16 or the round of 32, make that your bowl games, so you have, 8 or 16 bowl games every year. But every team, or at least 64 teams, have a chance of coming in and making a deep playoff run.
And the thing that I don't understand about any of this is like The NCAA is really out here just trying to make as much money as possible, and that strategy would make them so much money. Like if they did March Madness but for college football, which is like arguably bigger than basketball, what you would make so much. Why haven't they done this?
Well, I think that like the difference between and I'm trying to remember for D3, would they just play one game a weekend, or would they have like regionals and super regionals like in soccer and stuff? I don't know.
No, it's one game. It's one game a week.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a month long.
Okay. Because the championship games always for D1 is always around New Year's, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool. I just like the bowl system before was weird, and that didn't really make any sense to me. And then the system now I think is moving in the right direction, but I agree. Let's tease this thing out. Let's make it 16. Let's make it, I don't know. Because otherwise it's going to be Clemson, Alabama. Again.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's a huge shocker and one of them lose in the semis, but then the other one wins in the final. You know?
At the very least, you should have enough games so that if you win your conference, no matter what conference you're in, you go to the playoffs. Like there's no reason you should win your conference and still like there's nothing else you can do. If you go undefeated, you do not lose in conference, you win everything you can, and you don't make it to the playoffs, then what's the point? What are you doing it for?
Right. Like I'm looking at the top 25 and I look at Kansas State, right?
Yep.
Kansas State's 3-0 right now. Or Virginia, for example. Virginia's 4-0. Either one of those two teams go undefeated. I'm still taking a one-loss Alabama, Clemson, or Georgia over either of those teams if they're undefeated.
Yep.
You know? Like, that's so dumb. What? But the committee's not stupid. They need to make money, and they're going to put Alabama and Clemson in the top 4. It's frustrating.
It really is. I didn't mean for this question to get so heated, but just makes me mad.
No, but it's just stupid. Like, come on. So, quick, this is kind of related, so you can't get mad at me for being off topic. Pretty soon, in 3 years, UST is going to be playing like Michigan State, right? That's what's going to happen here. It's going to be just like UST is going to TCF to play the Gophers or something.
UST is going 0-12.
Just losing by 100 every game.
Oh gosh.
We don't have to talk about that if you don't want to.
I very much would like to talk about it because at least this is something I know something about. But yes, TJ, you can go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't think they'll go D1. I've spoken with people involved in the decision-making process, and they don't want to go Division I because it would require a lot more money intake. They would need to redo a lot of facilities, and there would be a lot more travel costs and a lot more pressure, and it would just kind of change the whole like energy of the athletics department.
And I think that last one is the biggest one right there. In my last semester working full-time for Tommy Media, I spoke with Coach Caruso and Phil Eston, the new athletics director. And even once the decision was announced, I wasn't doing any reporting, but I was talking to them, kind of on and off. And both of them are very dedicated to the ideals that Division III athletics stand for. And so at this point, sure, a lot of the discussion gets caught up in just the talent level of the Tommy football team. Could they play at Division II? Probably. Would they succeed? Depends on what Division II teams are playing. But I could see, just the talent level that they have and the coaching that Caruso and the other assistant coaches put in. I could see, if they make that leap to Division II within 2 or 3 years, they could be a pretty good Division II team. But it's not just about talent level. It's about culture. It's about what the program itself stands for, and St. Thomas's emphasis on, being students first, then athletes, and really kind of catering that whole experience to a D3 level. I think that just kind of fits what St. Thomas stands for. So honestly, I don't think they move up even, to Division II, much less Division I. I think it'd be, kind of funny to see St. Thomas play a Division I team, because usually we're on the upside of those 70, 80 point blowouts. I wonder how Caruso might handle getting blown out 70-80 himself. But no, I very strongly believe that St. Thomas will stay at Division III. What conference they end up in, I think that's anybody's guess. I think it'd be really interesting if they went unaffiliated.
UAA.
So how does that, is that possible, Noah? Like, can they just be like, and play technically all non-conference games? Like, how does that work?
It's possible. I think they're going to want to find a conference, just because that makes getting into the postseason a little bit easier. Where, yeah, you could schedule 10 non-conference games and be unaffiliated, but then you wouldn't be eligible for any of the division playoff spots. You would have to go in via the I'm forgetting the term. It's not wild card.
It's bid.
The at-large. Yeah, the at-large bids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and I think, with St. Thomas playing at the level that it is, and depending on the schedule that you're able to make, you could make an argument that St. Thomas would most likely almost be guaranteed at least one of those at-large bids, depending on their record and how well or how tough their schedule is. But no, I think there's just a lot more security in having a conference, and I also think there's just more money to be had. And at the end of the day, this is a business decision for St. Thomas as much as it is an athletic one or a cultural one. So possible, yes. Unlikely, though.
That's interesting. Interesting to think about.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm really excited to see where the Tommies end up. I'm really sad that they left the MIAC. I think everybody, all St. Thomas fans who know how everything went down are really upset with how it went down, and I'm one of those people. I think it's just ridiculous that they were kicked out of the MIAC, but I'm really excited to see where they end up, mostly just because I have no idea what conference would be the best fit for them. So just to kind of see how they make that decision moving forward, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's not, like, this is the private school D3 conference right here in Minnesota. They're like, there's not a whole lot of geographical make sense options.
Yeah. I mean, the closest conferences you have are the UMAC and the WIAC.
Yeah, and that doesn't make sense to put a Minnesota team in the WIAC.
And if people were complaining about St. Thomas being too good in the MIAC, imagine what would happen if they went to the UMAC.
Oh my gosh, I'm just trying to imagine St. Thomas playing St. Scholastica and McAllister all the time.
Oh gosh.
My God. Well, isn't the talk that Max is going to have a football team in, like, they're going to replace the St. Thomas football team?
It's possible. Yeah.
And if people wanted people to not lose by 100, they thought this would be the solution to that.
Have fun, McAllister playing St.
McAllister or Bethel or Concordia or even anyone with 11 regular humans on the other side of the line of scrimmage is going to just eviscerate them.
I've always thought that the optics and the semantics of this were really weird because teams chose to kick out St. Thomas. And one of the reasons they used was that they're just too good. There's not much competition in a year that St. Thomas football did not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
In a year that they went 8-2, their worst record in almost a decade, and were third behind St. John's and Bethel. I think that just kind of defeats everybody's arguments right there, where no, St. Thomas is not too big. St. Thomas doesn't just blow out everyone. I mean, Bethel and St. John's are small schools, but they have really good athletics programs. They've got really good football teams. I think it's just I don't want to get into the politics of it all, but I think this really was just kind of a power struggle, or whatever word you want to use to describe it, by other teams in the MIAC who were just kind of sick of St. Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell. There's definitely some insider stuff that went down or whatever, but just from the outside, it's kind of like, it's interesting. And it was cool that Scott Van Pelt did his one big thing on this. That was cool.
A lot of good press for us, at least.
Yeah.
Has anyone been following St. Thomas football pretty closely?
No.
Because I know they beat up on Hamlin last week, and I think they're playing today. You know, we're recording on Saturday the 28th. So let's see. They've only played 2 games this season. One against Trinity International non-conference, and then one against Hamlin. I'm gonna let you guys try and guess the scores. First St. Thomas versus Trinity International.
76-7.
I was gonna say 73-6.
Both pretty close. It was 69-3. And second against St. Thomas at Hamlin.
Away.
In front of the home
Yes.
crowd.
I'm gonna go 55-7.
We're gonna go 64-6.
74-14.
Oh.
And historically, it usually takes St. Thomas, 3-4 weeks to really get ramped up to full steam. And they don't play St. Olaf until the first weekend in November. And I think, already, St. Olaf 2 years ago, that was the team that they beat 97-0 because of some coaching politics between Caruso and his former staff who left to go coach at St. Olaf. And now with I don't know if they're rumors or if this is out there as just fact, but with St. Olaf being one of the driving forces that kicked St. Thomas out of the MIAC, I have November 2nd circled on my calendar. I want to see if we finally break the triple-digit mark in the Coach Caruso era. We came close, 97-0 for St. Olaf. I think that's going to be the game that we get over triple digits.
On the just the surface level, I absolutely think so. And I think it's going to be not just like 102-3. I think it's going to be like 150-3. Like they're just going to go insane. But at the same time, I think Caruso has had many discussions with the new athletic director, and the athletic director has probably said, all right, you're going to win 47-0, and you're going to run the football the entire second half, and you're just going to slow down just a little bit, because like the last thing he wants is to give St. Olaf that reason that they're correct, but the number one thing that the players want, I'm assuming, because me as a fan, I'm like, oh my God, kick the crap out of them, score 200 if you can.
Well, and that's the biggest thing too, where in that game 2 years ago when they won 97-0, they were running a lot of their backups, doing a lot of standard, Caruso's favorite play, C-gap power, just running it right at them. And they had, their fourth, fifth string tight ends in at fullback, and they were doing fullback dives and still getting 7 to 8 yards. They had an offensive tackle score a touchdown on the last drive of the game, a 3-yard touchdown run. So
yeah, you can only hold up so much,
Exactly. And so I
You
think
still have to play the game.
Yeah.
And this is still very much Caruso's program. This is his football program, and I'm not sure that there's as much outsider input from the athletic directors as that comment suggests, Anthony. Not trying to incite anything, but I think the athletic program has a great amount of respect for Caruso, and they let him run the program as he sees fit. And I have no doubt that Caruso, he out of all the coaches I've talked to, is the most, we take it one game at a time. We really focus on this week, and we'll get to those games when we get to them. But I really think he's thinking about St. Olaf, at least a little bit moving forward in the next couple of weeks.
All in all, he's competitor. He wants to kick the crap out of people, and if there's more incentive, then look out.
Exactly. And usually, that 97-0 victory was done with third stringers, fourth stringers, heck, even some fifth stringers in the game. I'll be really interested to see with Josh Parks running the way that he is, what if you keep him in for the whole game, or at least for 3 quarters? He went off against Hamlin, had near 200 yards, I think, on 5 carries. What if you do that to St. Olaf? Just let him run wild for an entire game. I would love to see Josh Parks play for an entire game. Just what those stats could look like. I think that would be awesome.
It'd be cool. It would be record-breaking for sure. Because, some dude from Minnesota ran for 600 yards in 3 quarters? What?
Honestly, I'm hoping that happens. As someone who wrote, game recaps and game stories for these kinds of blowouts, I was always looking for some record that was broken or something interesting to latch onto, because when you're beating people by roughly the same margin, 70-14, 63-7, kind of in that area, it's impressive, but it's not anything special because it happens all the time. So if Josh Parks goes off for, say, 600 yards and 8 touchdowns, that is a historic performance. That is your lead. You don't lead with anything else. Like, this man, whose man's is this? This is
exactly.
That's gonna be.
I can't think.
That's gonna be fun.
Can't think of a better article title than that. Whose man's?
It's just whose man's ? Ours man's.
I think they might need a guest field reporter that day and someone to just write an article, and it should be Noah Brown coming back.
Yeah, I will more than happily go back up there and cover a massacre of the St. Olaf football team.
Is that in St. Paul or Northfield?
Let me check.
That's in Northfield.
Yes, it is.
Even better.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad our college football discussion shifted to D3 as opposed to D1. Because I have not watched... I've watched a single game of D1 college football this year. I was covering a Mizzou football game for work. And they looked pretty good, but that's just about all I can say about it.
They looked like they understood how to play football. They were confident enough.
And so, based on that one game alone, I think Mizzou is going to the national title game.
Perfect. I love it, because that's more than I've watched this year. So,
and that is our in-depth college football analysis. Q3?
Twins.
You want to move on? Yeah, let's move on to the Twins. Q3. Twins just clinched the division for the first time since 2010 and have a 100-win season for the first time since 1965. Dare we hope
crazy, man,
for a deep playoff run? I, first of all, want to toot my own horn. Because when we have talked about the Twins in the past, in our episode Sad About Brian from last year, and our episode from this year, I have said that I like what the Twins are doing, and I think they will be good soon. Lo and behold, we have clinched the division and are the 4th team this season with a 100-win record, the first time that has ever happened in Major League history. And we're good. We broke the home run record for a single season. We're up over 300. The Twins are good. They're very good.
Yeah, they are.
I think.
Oh, go ahead,
Go
Anthony.
ahead, no. I think it's TJ. This is the perfect time for you to cut in your just for your own self-worth. You need to cut in the part from that episode and just be like, I think the Twins are going to be good, and then you'll sound like a genius. I know it's more work, but
I'm a genius.
you are a genius. And I don't know, man. It's weird. It's the same thing I said with United. It's like, what? Did Minnesota number 1 in the division? It going to the play, like, weird. It just looks weird to me.
And I think this team feels a whole lot different than even different postseason teams in the past. I mean, you go back to our 2010 postseason run. This Twins team, just top to bottom, feels a lot deeper. And I guess you're going to have that when you have a 300 home run season where everyone in the lineup is producing. The bullpen looks solid. The starting pitching has been shaky at times, but I mean, moving forward, I think overall this is the most rounded Twins team we have seen in quite some time.
Yeah,
I think that's the part that gets me nervous, is starting pitching, like you said.
Well, and that's the biggest thing too, where the Twins actually just lost the home run lead this season, and I think you all can guess who took it from them. It's the Yankees.
gross.
Yeah.
The Yankees,
course it is.
let's see, they were playing, who were they playing last night? They were playing the Texas Rangers, slugged their way through, I think they had 6 home runs in that game, so now they have 305, which is 2 more than the Twins do at the time of this recording. There are still 2 games left in the regular season. And the Yankees are the team that the Twins are going to have to face in New York to start the divisional round, barring any sort of... I think it's set, isn't it?
It is set, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And so, if there were one team that, not only historically has been kind of the Twins' kryptonite, but that could exploit this current Twins lineup, this current Twins roster, it is the Yankees. I mean, just the way that they're built, they are built to outslug the best of them. I mean, you don't get to 305 home runs if you're not built that way. And so the Twins starting pitching is going to have to hold on, and the Twins bats are going to have to go toe-to-toe with the Yankees to have a chance. I think they do. I really like this this Twins team. I think they've got a good shot, but they need to show up. They need the bats to come in hot. They cannot start off cold, because if the Yankees, heck, in even 1 or 2 innings can put up 5 or 6 runs, I'm not confident that the Twins would be able to catch up. I think if they build a lead early, they can sustain that lead. But particularly on the road, you can't afford to fall behind early.
Yeah. The season stats against the Yankees so far, Twins are 2-4 against them this season, which concerns me. It's the thing of, like, I think every team in the playoffs is beatable for the Twins, but the one team that concerns me the most is the Yankees, and it just so happens that we're playing them in the first round. I think if we get past them, everyone else is completely beatable, but we have to get past the Yankees, which concerns me.
I'm a little concerned with that completely beatable statement. I mean, do you know who else is in the AL? I mean,
yes, completely beatable, as in the Twins currently have this season record against the Astros. Twins are winning. Like, the Twins beat the Astros in the season series this year.
How many games did they play?
I think it was 5.
Okay.
Gonna go back to my thing here.
I just think I don't know if this is what you're thinking, TJ, but like, just it's so hard to take like 2005 through 2010 out of my brain when I think of Twins in the playoffs, because it's like, if we didn't lose to the Yankees in the first round, we lost to the A's. and then if we won in the DS and we went to the CS and we lost to the Yankees. So I think it would just be so big for this Twins community if we beat the Yankees, and then it was like, then we would start to believe, you know? Because like right now, I'm still skeptical
And
that
I think I'll
the
rescind
Twins are
my
legit, you know?
I think I'll rescind my hesitation to say completely beatable, because if the Twins do get past the Yankees, I mean, they have been our Achilles heel for decades now.
Yeah.
If the Twins can win that series and get hot at that moment, I mean, they might be one of the hardest teams to beat in baseball. And usually going forward into October baseball, the group that translates the best and that is the biggest predictor of success in the postseason is starting pitching. But the Twins are built to not totally ignore it, but to compensate for some shaky starting pitching. So if they can get past the Yankees, and if they can get to the Astros starting pitchers early, who knows? We might see the Twins in the World Series for the first time since '91.
Yeah, I think compensate is the perfect word, because just with management as it is now and how creative they are and how to get advantages and people in situations that are good for the Twins, I don't think there's any reason we don't throw 5 relievers. You know, like we have that, we've done that before. There's no reason we can't do that again, and just give teams different looks that baseball hasn't seen. I mean, the whole shift idea 10 years ago was so weird. You would never see any teams do an infield shift, but now it's like every person that bats, there's 3 guys on the right side of the infield or 3 guys, you know? It's just transformed, and I think the Twins are at kind of spearheading that with saying, you know what, I'm going to start a reliever, and then I'm going to put Kyle Gibson in the 5th inning or something.
I'd be cautious to do that, because you don't want to wear out your bullpen early, because the last thing you want is to exhaust your bullpen in the division series and then just get absolutely clobbered by the Astros in the conference, or in the ALCS, excuse me. I think while your offense and your bullpen can compensate for starting pitching, you need to have your starters go at least 5 innings every single game. That's going to give you the best shot. And even if they allow 3, 4, 5 earned runs, that's where the compensation comes in. I mean, the Twins, you can expect them to get you at least 4 or 5 most every game. And who knows, maybe postseason will change that. But I'm willing to bet on this Twins offense. The starting pitching, you don't need them to be perfect. You don't need them to be, Astros level of good. You don't need them to be Jack Flaherty levels of good. You just need them to be decent. You need them to be sufficient. And then let the offense take the rest.
Barely above,
that's
good
what
enough.
Yes.
That's what I mean by having that creativity. I don't mean that the relievers are going to come in and throw a collective no-hitter. They just have to, hold on to the game and wait for the bats to heat up. So I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Twins
I think
are
that's
4-3 against the
put it.
Astros on the season, by the way. I've got the stats together.
4-3?
4-3 with 3 of the games at home, 4 away.
Okay.
No, sorry, 3 away, 4 at home. But
I don't know,
still.
I just with the way that the Astros have built the roster, they might be the most complete team in baseball, and I'm just hesitant to bet against them at this point right now. I mean, that's just kind of the case that it always is for top seeds in the conferences, and I really hope that the Twins can make it. I would love to see a Cardinals Twins World Series, but it's hard to say, you know what, I think the Twins are going to have a decent shot against the Astros, because at this point, not a lot of people have. But who knows? Maybe the Twins will be that team.
It's October baseball. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and sometimes, as Christian always says, it's always just about heating up at the right point. You don't have to have the best team throughout the season. I mean, really, the point of the regular season is to get you the postseason. And then records are clear. You got a clean slate, and it's always about the hot hand. So who knows? Maybe the Twins are that hot hand.
It'd be fun to see, man. It'd be fun to see.
Honestly, let's just beat the Yankees. That's my biggest priority right now. Just
Get that will mean a lot, and like World Series would be amazing, and that would be awesome. But having it go through the Yankees would be even sweeter.
I would appreciate that immensely. I don't know that anything would get me quite as hype as the Twins blowing past the Yankees in the playoffs for the first time ever, practically. I just want that like satisfaction. It's very exciting.
Pretty sweet. It's next Friday, right?
Yeah.
First game.
Yep.
hard to believe we're already in
dude.
October. This summer
right?
has flown by.
It's crazy.
Every day I get to work and I like send out a message with the day's date and just kind of like an update for the day. And every day I look at the date and type it. And I'm like, my gosh, it's already September 28th. What is this?
Yeah, it feels like the first day of school was yesterday, and we're like
Same.
4 weeks in.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the first day of school was just yesterday. I'm definitely still in school.
Hey, some of us stay in school the rest of our life, all right, TJ? Some of us go get real jobs, and some of us stay in high school.
You're forever learning. That's what we'll call this.
Yeah. A lifelong learner.
That's me. That's me.
All right. I don't know how to transition out of this, so I'm just going to cut it, and we're going to go Q4.
That's definitely an 8 out of 24 right there.
Yeah, you've become abrasive since your move. It sounds like you're just blunt
the
now.
The big city changes people. Okay.
TJ and I were texting a little bit ago, and he said he wasn't going to let Chicago change him, but I think it's changed him more than he realizes.
It's made me more of a scared person. That's what it's done to me. I walk outside in fear now. When I was in St. Paul, I walked outside with joy. Now I walk outside and I'm like angry and afraid. That's
How
what
did you
Chicago
walk
is.
outside in Malacca? What did you feel in Malacca?
Nothing.
Confusion?
I felt nothing when I was there.
Oh, man.
All right, Q4. I want to talk about this because I am very excited about it. The NFC North does not currently have a team with a losing record after 3 weeks. 3.5 weeks. The Packers lost on Thursday. Heck yeah, but still do not have a losing record. They're the only division in the NFL currently like this. Are they a powerhouse? And how will the 4 teams do this year? And a bonus, what is your Super Bowl prediction?
I'd hold off on the powerhouse talk to start off. I mean, we are only 3.5 weeks through the season, and the NFC North does look pretty good. The Vikings, I think, have me the most worried, just because they're the team I care about the most. And Kirk Cousins does not look like an $84 million quarterback. He doesn't look like an $800,000 quarterback. That made no sense. $840,000.
So
$840,000 quarterback.
My brain was doing cartwheels right there trying to figure that out.
It's been a long week. Never mind. We'll keep moving forward. Kirk Cousins just looks not right. There's just something, and yeah, we've known this for the last few years. I mean, this is just how Kirk Cousins plays, where he's a decent quarterback, but every game will make one or two boneheaded decisions that could cost you a game. And the perfect representation was that Packers game, where after giving up 24 points early, the defense pitched a shutout. Holding the Packers offense scoreless for 3 quarters is no small feat. But and then you have Dalvin Cook going off. I mean, he's quickly rising to become one of the top 5 running backs in the league right now. to fight your way back, only to have Kirk Cousins throw a really, really bad throw on first down, picked off in the end zone. I'm sorry, you can't have that, and the best quarterbacks in the league are not making that throw. Heck, even some of the top half quarterbacks in the league are not making that throw. So the Vikings could be a great team, but Kirk Cousins needs to play a lot better than he is right now for that to happen.
My analogy for Kirk Cousins right now is that he's like a perpetually panicked and less intelligent Tom Brady. And I say this because currently, stat-wise, through Kirk Cousins' first 2,800 pass attempts, which is what he's currently around. He's just over that with last week's game. Compared to Tom Brady's first 2,800 pass attempts, Kirk Cousins has more yards, more touchdowns, better passer rating, and less interceptions. But
fewer interceptions.
Excuse me. The difference between these two is that Kirk Cousins' interceptions come when they absolutely cannot happen. Tom Brady throws picks, but Tom Brady throws picks when it really is okay, when it's later in the game and they're already up big, or when it's early on and they still have like a chance. It's not a game-losing interception. Kirk Cousins may throw fewer interceptions, but his interceptions come at the costliest possible time, which is so infuriating and so fitting for a Minnesota quarterback, because that's exactly what Minnesota does all the time. They make mistakes or have things collapse when they absolutely cannot collapse. So it makes sense that he's playing here, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating.
I think you bring up a good point there. I think it's we haven't seen Kirk Cousins in Minnesota step up in the moment, like when there's that moment, it just always, you can't get him to not do the wrong thing.
Well,
in that
and I
moment.
think that's just not him in Minnesota. I think that's just Kirk Cousins throughout his career. I mean,
yeah.
This is from an NFL analyst who gets paid money to research these things.
Wow.
Kirk Cousins' career stats: record in primetime games, 5-13. Record versus winning teams, 4-24. Record versus winning teams last season, 0-5. Career road record, 12-23-2. Career record on Monday Night Football, 0-7.
I have a comment about the versus winning team stat. Kirk Cousins among the top 25 quarterbacks in the NFL, of which he is currently ranked in the top 25, quote unquote, because there's only 32 starting quarterbacks. Of the top 25 quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins' record against winning teams in his career is 10th on the list, because I don't like that stat at all, because record against winning teams ends up being against him is like, oh, he can't play against teams that win a lot. No one can play against teams that win a lot. That's the thing about teams that win a lot. If you look at quarterbacks, I think on the list it was Andrew Luck and Ben Roethlisberger, and there were like 4 or 5 other like franchise quarterbacks that people consider like the staple quarterbacks of the league. Phillip Rivers was on that list. That Kirk Cousins was above them in record against winning teams in his career.
Yeah, but Kirk Cousins doesn't have to play the Patriots as much as all of those guys do, because all 3 of them are in the AFC,
That's fair.
And I think if all the other records were better and that was the one blemish, I think you could forgive that a little bit more. But just seeing how bad all the other things are, like record in prime time.
Oh yeah, his
games,
prime time is
career road
terrible.
record. I mean, he's not a big time quarterback, and until he starts playing like one, or until the Vikings find one when they get out of this Kirk Cousins deal, honestly, this team will not be as good as they could be. And every team in the NFC North has something holding them back. With the Bears, it's Mitch Trubisky, whether he can play like a competent quarterback. With the Packers, it's everyone not named Aaron Rodgers. This defense, yes, looks improved, but that offense still goes through Aaron Rodgers. And if he falters or if he's not having his best game, the offense around him can't pick him up. And the Lions, I mean, they're still one of, I think, 5 remaining undefeated teams in the NFL through 3 weeks.
That is so strange to me.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
that doesn't really count.
they tied the Cardinals in week 1, so I mean, you put a little
Okay, but they
asterisk
also
by
beat the
undefeated.
Chargers and the Eagles, so
They did. I will hold though that the Eagles game, the Eagles were facing a slew of injuries, and Carson Wentz was playing hurt for probably half of that game. And they came within, what was it, a few dropped passes of winning that game. So
looking at you, Nelson.
That's the thing. You play the teams that you play. The circumstances. You can't make excuses like, oh, if these guys weren't hurt, we would have won that game, because you didn't. They were. Eagles lost. Lions won. But still, I'm not entirely confident in this Lions team just yet to say, oh my gosh, you should look at these guys as the clear-cut favorites to win the NFC North. So every team in the NFC North has its issues, and the Vikings are right in the thick of things. But they have to have better play from Kirk Cousins if they're going to have a chance to win this division, if they're going to have any chance to make another Super Bowl run. Because this defense looks as good, if not better, than that defense from 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook is amazing.
Incredible.
Honestly, probably...
Well, he's healthy.
Yeah.
Finally.
Probably, at least top 5, maybe top 3 running back in the league right now.
For sure.
And so you have all these pieces here. There's just Kirk Cousins. Heck, if we could get the same play that we did in 2017, I would take Case Keenum over Kirk Cousins at this point.
I would too. I liked Case personally. I think that even with the additions the Vikes have made to the offensive line, that's still the weakest part of them. And Kirk Cousins, again, going back to him being a more panicked and less intelligent Tom Brady, Kirk Cousins, by his talent, is a system quarterback. And if there is a flaw in that system, he can't make anything happen. And if the flaw in the system is that your left tackle is a little bit shaky sometimes, we're going to have a lot of issues.
So do you think, just looking at the NFC as a whole, and looking at, like, the NFC South is a train wreck. There are clear favorites in the West and the East. Do you think there's a possibility that we have a division winner, say, for whatever, like, so the Vikes win the division? Do you think it's plausible that we could have both wild cards in the North? Because looking around, like, the Niners are 3-0, but they're the Niners, and the only other team that's drawing my attention is the Eagles right now. So,
and honestly, I mean, it's still really early in the season. We're only a quarter
3
of the way
weeks
through,
in,
and so, I mean, I'm going to use the Cowboys as an example here, just because I know them a little bit better. But they started off last season 3-5, and then ended up 10-6, winning the East. So a lot of things can change over the course of the season. But right now, I think, I mean, it's always a possibility that you have 2 teams from a conference, because each are from a division, because each division is guaranteed 1 playoff spot. And I do think that top to bottom, the NFC North is I don't know if best is the best word, but it's definitely the most complete division. It's the most competitive division.
Yep.
Yes. And so, honestly, I mean, you look, the Seahawks and the 49ers in the West right now, they look pretty good. The Eagles in the East, they've looked decent despite all the injuries that they have. So when they get back to full strength, I And they've been linked to rumors about possibly getting Jalen Ramsey. If they can improve that secondary, they all automatically shoot up in my book to possible contenders. So yeah, I think it is possible for the NFC North to get 2 playoff spots, but I think it's a little early to say, oh yeah, they're definitely going to get that, just because you do have teams like the Eagles, the Rams, the Niners. Heck, even if the Panthers or Falcons can figure out their stuff right now, they might be contenders as well moving forward. Particularly with the way that what's Carolina's backup quarterback's name? He's been balling out with Cam Newton injured. So I don't know. Like I said, I think it's a little early, but yes, it is very possible that the North has 2 playoff spots.
Like Super Bowl 2K20.
Dude, I'd be down.
That's all I'm saying. We're gonna.
Dude, can you imagine? Oh my God! Wait, pause. If we had the like quadfecta, or even if we had 3 championships out of 5 sports, if Minnesota United somehow won, if the Twins somehow won, if the Vikes somehow won, and then the Wild got knocked out in the first round and the Wolves didn't make the playoffs, we would still. That'd be 3 championships in 1 year.
That's a winning record. That's 3-2.
Insane. That's 3-2, man.
Throw the Lynx in there. We've got another championship. That's 4-2.
There you go.
Look at that.
4-2, and then throw the. Don't we have a lacrosse team or something?
I don't know. I don't
anymore?
Follow lacrosse.
Yeah, no one follows.
I only know lacrosse, Wisconsin.
So let me ask both of you this question here. The Vikings' point differential is 31?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, sorry. That just caught my eye. So I think I know what Noah's answer would be, but TJ, who is going to be in the NFC Championship game? Who are the 2 teams?
I have my bets on... Honestly, if looking at the league right now, I would say Rams Cowboys would be my logical pick. Just because the Rams are hungry from last year. They're good. They're really good, and the Cowboys are getting better. Like they're still on the uphill climb. So I would say Rams Cowboys would be my logical pick. If I wanted to go like who I would love to see, I would love to see Vikes Cowboys. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I think it'll be Rams Cowboys, and Noah will have his vindication against the Rams finally.
Do we have a bleeping noise that we can use, or should I just refrain from swearing?
I mean, I could probably put one in.
Okay, you know what? No. I'm trying to stop swearing. So, heck, Stan Kroenke. There we go. We'll go with that. But no, and I think
here we go again.
No, I'm not going to start on this. Although you did promise me that we could have a Stan Kroenke roast on this show at some point, TJ. So
I'll just let you record it, and then I'll just take it and edit out all of the stuff that can't legally be put online. And then
that's going to be probably about 95% of the recording. It's just unintelligible grunts and swearing. But no, so I think for NFC Championship game, right now, I mean, they've only played Washington, the Giants, and the Dolphins. But the Cowboys look to be probably the best team in the NFC right now. I mean, it's just they're the most complete team. They really don't have a weak spot. And I have some reservations against people saying, oh, but they've only played crappy teams. Well, yeah, but I mean, they've absolutely dominated those crappy teams, and that's what good teams are supposed to do. And so the Cowboys will be getting their first couple of challenges coming up here pretty soon. They're playing the Saints on Sunday Night Football. They've got the Eagles coming up here pretty soon. They play the Patriots at some point this season. They're playing the Vikings as well. Packers, I believe, are right after the Saints as well. So you have quite a more challenging stretch coming up here in the next couple of weeks. And I think that'll really show, if the Cowboys play well, that they have one of the most, if not the most well-rounded team in the entire NFC. And then I think it is kind of a toss-up for who that second team could be. The Rams are always a smart choice. The Saints, despite Drew Brees being out, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater looked really good in that Seahawks game. And if Teddy can keep them afloat, even if he goes, 500 over the 5 or 6 weeks that Brees is out, once Brees gets back in, I mean, you think that's once he gets healed up, that is a well-rested, healthy Brees that you have for the last stretch of the season. And that's something I'm not willing to bet against. Drew Brees playing good football, mad football, hungry football, whatever you want to call it. That's always a good matchup there. And so I really think you'll see on the Sunday Night Football game coming up just how deep the Saints team is. I mean, they're going up against one of the best teams in the NFC. Teddy plays well. That defense plays well. And then, of course, you have Alvin Kamara. So I think a lot of people are writing off the Saints way too early. But no, so I think ultimately what I'm going to go with, I'm going to share the same thing with TJ, where I hope it's the Cowboys-Vikings. I don't think it will be. For me, I'm going to go Cowboys-Saints.
That'd be fun. Do you think, I don't want to spend too much time on the Cowboys, but they're 3-0 for now, and we know they're going to go 5-8 the rest of the season, so I just want to get you on the high point while they but is this type of system that is going on with the Cowboys, meaning like all this talk about contracts and disputes between the uppers and the lowers, like this is kind of like the year that it has to get done. Right. Because it seems like every year it's this person needs a new contract and this, and sooner or later they're going to run out of money.
Right. That was always a concern, but I think this year they showed that the Cowboys management has showed that they are willing to keep this young core intact to get deals done. Because, I mean, obviously Zeke is the biggest deal that's happened this year. I mean, the 7-year extension worth $90 million. Almost unheard of for a running back. But also moving forward, I mean, you look, they signed DeMarcus Lawrence, one of the top 10 pass rushers in the league, to a contract back in April. They re-signed La'el Collins, their right tackle, to a fairly team-friendly deal. And I think that's probably a very underrated aspect of this offensive line in particular. I mean, all of these guys have taken very, very team-friendly deals. I mean, Tyron Smith is arguably the best left tackle in all of football, and he's making right around $9 million a year. Which is still, I mean, that's a lot of money, but he could command, upward of 15, 20, heck, maybe even 25 million, depending on which team he went to. And the fact that you have that kind of talent for that cheap, relatively speaking, I think that speaks to at least some of these players on this Cowboys team saying, hey, I like where I'm at. I think we've got a good thing going, and I want to do my part to try and keep this thing together. And so that allowed the team to go out and re-sign players like La'el Collins, like Jalen Smith, and really kind of like the big three that you have left remaining are Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, and Byron Jones. And it is very possible that all three of those guys re-sign. And so how long these guys, this core sticks together, we'll have to wait and see. But it sounds like they could be together for at least the next couple of years. And that is really exciting if you're a Cowboys fan. If you're anyone else in the NFC East, I think it kind of sucks. Because this Cowboys team is one of the best Cowboys teams we've seen in the last 25 years. Other than maybe the 07 or the 2014 Cowboys. And honestly, I think this team might be better than both of those. This might be the best team we've seen since the 90s.
Yeah, you just got to hope everyone stays healthy and, makes a legitimate run. Because the Giants are a question mark right now with Daniel Jones and to see what they can do. And the Eagles are always kind of that same, well, are they going to get hot and go win a Super Bowl, or are they just going to sputter out and do nothing,
Right, and I think the depth that the Cowboys have will help with that. I mean, Tony Pollard is a really, really solid number 2 running back and will help reduce the load for Zeke. The receiving options that you have outside of Amari, you've got Michael Gallup. I mean, he's injured for a little bit right now, but you've got Randall Cobb and Devin Smith. Jason Witten's back, and he's never been one of those vertical deep threat tight ends, but he's a solid passing option. And when you have so many options on the outside, you saw against teams like the Giants, like Miami, he can still move. He had a 35-yard reception against Miami. And so if you can expect, 5-6 receptions, 40 to 50 yards, maybe a touchdown each week from Jason Witten, I mean, that's really good considering all those options that you have. So I think moving forward, the Cowboys are one of the deepest teams. And I can stop talking about them now because I know I could go on these guys for hours. But I think they are right now the best team in the NFC.
I'm just glad Jason Witten's not doing commentary anymore.
Me too.
I don't care what he's doing. I'm just glad he's not in the broadcast.
Get out of the booth.
That made me so sad to see how bad he was on Monday Night Football.
So bad.
It pained me. I mean, Jason Witten is one of my favorite all-time players, and to see him struggle and just suck so much was that was heartbreaking.
Never forget Jason Witten and the Boogermobile, and on the same broadcast,
Gosh,
every week.
Who
those
thought
two
that was a
incredible-
good idea?
ESPN, Disney. We can blame Disney for this, okay? This is Disney's fault.
Heck off, Disney.
Everything is Disney's fault. That's my hot take of the day.
Every problem in the world is Disney's
It's just
fault.
Disney's
I like
fault.
it. TJ, being the leader of this great friend gathering that we have, can we talk about the AFC really fast, or should we shut up
let's
and
let's
end it?
nail it out. What do you want to say?
I think he wants to talk about his Browns.
Okay.
Yeah, he does.
I just want to say to all my faithful brownies in the world
All four
that are
of
listening
you.
to this worldwide across the solar system, now is not the time for panic. I think the Baltimore Ravens I think Lamar Jackson, if you can control Lamar Jackson in the sense that you play the same way against him as you used to play against Cam Newton, or that some teams used to play against Aaron Rodgers when he would scramble more. Just like if you can always have a spy and then make Lamar Jackson throw the ball 35 times, I think you can beat the Ravens. The Ravens are beatable. And I think the AFC is pretty top heavy. Like the Chiefs are just almost like a lock to be in the AFC Championship. Like they're just so dang good. And then everyone else is interesting. The Texans have looked like a questionable 2-1. The Buffalo Bills somehow are 3-0. And the Patriots
Bills
are really
Lions
good too.
Super Bowl 2020.
Oh
Dude,
gosh.
It's happening.
Browns Lions Super
when we
Bowl.
get back to do the next podcast in like 6 months, TJ, I'll give you $20.
I really hope it.
if the Buffalo Bills are playing the Lions in the
I
Super
really
Bowl.
hope it's not another 6 months because this is fun. We need to do this more often.
Yeah, we do.
I know. But I think Baker Mayfield has looked like a trash pile so far, and they're just settling in. He's got all these weapons. He just has to get comfortable, figure out how to use these weapons. They have a solid running back. They have weapons, but now they just need to be able to utilize them without throwing 3 interceptions a game. So I think we're getting there. And the Steelers suck. Steelers are awful. Bengals, I would say, are better than the Steelers. But I don't know, man. I think the Browns can make a run at this division. I'm confident in the Browns that they're going to make it happen.
Browns.
I don't know who they're
Lions.
playing
You
this
heard
week.
it here first, folks.
Jesus, they're playing the Ravens this week.
It's
Okay.
happening.
Oh my God, Ravens, Niners, Seahawks, Patriots. Oh, okay.
If they're
the
going to figure it
winning
out, they need to
record
figure it
says
out
goodbye.
quickly.
Like I said, not time to panic. Well, everything will be
Tomorrow
fine.
was time to panic.
Tomorrow at noon.
Yeah.
All right, are we gonna
Yep.
do Super Bowl predictions real quick?
Yeah, real quick. What do you got?
Ooh, yeah.
All right, Anthony,
Give
what
me
you
your
got?
teams.
I'm going to go Chiefs from the AFC because I'm sick and tired of the Patriots. And I think they're going to beat the Cowboys by 45 in the Super Bowl. Chiefs, Cowboys.
Oh my gosh. That's a bold prediction.
You know what? I'm gonna hold you to that, and when the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, I'm gonna play that back for you.
Perfect.
You know,
I would.
The
You would enjoy that a
I
lot,
would.
so I would
the
be okay
last
with that.
time that I made a football prediction on this podcast, y'all laughed at me. Because the last time I made a football prediction
Gosh.
was at the beginning of last season, and I said that the Cowboys could go at most 11-5, and they could beat the Saints. And sure enough, they went 10-6, and they beat the Saints in what was arguably one of the best football games of last season. And so,
He's right one time and he thinks he's Nostradamus.
hear me when I say, and take it as gospel truth, that the Cowboys are going to beat the Chiefs in this year's Super Bowl. And it'll be a close game. It'll be a shootout of a game. But the Cowboys' depth will win the day. We're going to make it, let's say 35-31. That'll be interesting.
Do you think Jerry Jones lives that long, or no? Do you think he's got more than a year
Yeah,
left?
he's going to outlive us all. He's like a
true.
witch. Just will never die.
An old racist witch.
TJ, who you got? Let me just add that in there quick.
Who do I got? I'm gonna say Cowboys are gonna make it as well. I think I'm gonna go Cowboys. Ravens is gonna be my bold
Ooh.
prediction.
Interesting.
I think I like Lamar Jackson. I think he's good. I think the Ravens are hot right now, and I think that it'll be a one season thing where they'll be really good this year. Teams will figure them out next year, but I don't think they'll figure them out by the end of this season. So I think it's going to be Cowboys Ravens. I think the Cowboys will beat the Ravens, but it will be close. I'm going to
There
say
we go.
like 21-17.
There we go. I'm really excited for this season, boys. This is gonna be fun.
And if
This
I'm
is
wrong
gonna be
about the
fun.
Vikings and they end up making it, I'll be happy to be wrong.
Oh man, should be fun.
Yeah.
Should be fun.
And on that awkward silence, we are out.
Noah and I
It's-
just waiting for TJ to take over and close it out after we just gave him the perfect setup.
It's only
and-
awkward if you let it be awkward, TJ. So that's once again your fault as terrible host
True.
for messing
True.
up an otherwise perfect setup by me and Anthony.
Why does TJ get berated? I like it.
Because
though.
I'm the best,
totally a
and
fan.
everyone who is held to as high a standard as me needs to be taken down a notch.
And that answers my question straight away, right there.
All right, this has been fun. We'll be back sometime, but until then, goodbye, everybody.
Peace out, fam.
That's my
See ya.
outro.
You see, this is why we need
man.
a set time frame, because like whenever we did keep the ball rolling, or now that we're doing Offside Sports on the air, there was always a guarantee that there'd be an episode next week. So all I'd have to say was, for everyone here, I'm TJ Birnbaum, and we'll see you next week. And then that
Hey,
sounds
let's,
final.
First of all, why would you say you're me? And second of all, let's do it next week.